Through our experience trying out many web hosts the past 6 years, we learned that the best web hosts don't actually suit everyone. There are hundreds of web hosting service providers in Sri Lanka currently providing you web hosting services. But almost none of them directly own data centers, and even fewer actually purchase the data center services directly from a data center. SLT Telecom and Dialog Axiata, the main telecommunications services providers, host their own servers within Sri Lanka. However, the hosting charges are relatively higher. Larger companies with specific requirements on security and services prefer purchasing the services of these hosting providers. Low-budget hosting plans provided by the local ISPs are there, but I wouldn't go for those as I could get better servers elsewhere. We have also been trying out hosting service providers from all over the world, including Sri Lankan web hosting, and those top server hosting providers recommended by Google. Through our experience in the past 6 years, we have learned better than to just purchase hosting from companies we think are the best, and have actually learned what matters to make your web page load faster. Some of this essential stuff to look out for when selecting a web hosting service provider are overlooked and not talked about openly, as many of the top web hosts cannot provide the same service they provide to European or US businesses. Also, maybe because most of the YouTubers and bloggers come from Europe and US, they might not have actually faced the problems we do here. Here are the things you need to consider before choosing a web host. Number 1, server location and target audience location. It's best to choose a server located in a central location to your target audience. For example, if you choose to host your website at Singapore while your target audience is from US, your website loads slower for them, where if your audience is from China or Malaysia, the website will load faster for them. It is not a very attractive experience for your website's visitors when the web page load time takes 10 seconds to load. You need to find out where your hosting service provider's servers are located at. Then, choose a host that provides you with a server closer to your target audience's location. Trying to minimize the page loading speed is critical for good SEO ranking. Most Sri Lankan hosting service providers got their servers at USA and Singapore. Check if the selected host server ping is lower to your target audience's region. This is important. All the web hosts that are said to be the top 10 are not always the best choice for your need. You are able to speed check your host's server speed to your target location using bitcha.com. Just copy the URL of your host server. Then go to www.bitcha.com and paste the URL and search. The server will be graded according to the response time, which is indicated by the metric ping. The ping should be lower to your target region for your benefit. A good ping should be lower than 200 according to Google. However, lower the better. Number 2. Estimate how many visitors could potentially visit your site at the same time. Most of the web hosting services providers recommend you to use their shared hosting service. We do too. Because it's cheaper, and for most websites, it's sufficient. But, as the number of concurrent users increases, the website starts running slower. Just keep it in mind. It's quite bad for your website if all of a sudden it starts running slower, especially when there's a large number of users. Testing this yourself could be hard. The number of users a server can handle at once depends on few specifications. 1. Processor, also called CPU, essentially determines the speed of understanding something, like the brains of the server. 2. RAM determines how many processes the brain could handle at the same time. 3. Storage provides the capacity to store stuff. The type of hard disk matters, as it determines how fast the brain could find the stuff that's stored there. The variation at the moment is SSD and HDD. The SSD is considered faster than the standard HDD hard disk. Number 3. Server security. Protecting your website and its visitors from cyber attacks is important. Such attacks could slow down your site, steal data of your visitors, or even your website. I just said some of the least damaging things a cyber attack could do. Secure hosts should protect you against DDoS. It's always better to have an SSL certificate to encrypt information so that stolen information would be worthless. You need some backing up services from the web host too. Some of them provide the means for free. Some of them include it in the price, and some just don't care. Try to avoid them. Number 4. Most of all, what I appreciate the most is the customer support. The hosting service provider's ability to attend to their client needs is essential. It's so frustrating when you cannot get an answer from your service provider. The hosting service provider should be able to respond to client support requests immediately, within a reasonable time. Too immediately is bad news too, as then, you might be talking to a chatbot, instead of a real person. The prompt response is essential because the client could lose a lot by the minute. The results shown here are the server load times to each of the locations such as London, Singapore, Japan. It's not related to website load time, however, the server load time adds up onto the web page load time. Web page load time is affected by the page code, caching, content delivery (CDN), media optimization, host server load speed. Ultimately, server response time is the foundation of your website's speed. Try out the Nanobotz web estimate calculator if you want to get an idea about how much it will cost you to get your website done. I will leave a link in the description. The results table is generated by www.bitcacha.com, where they benchmark the average results against Google's recommended 200 millisecond standard. According to them, for the best user experience the server should at least have a B+ rating. These are the results for the best web hosting service providers ranked high on Google. This diagram displays the result for Nanobotz cloud hosting, which, as you can see, is doing better than most of the top hosting service providers for the South Asia region. Here you can see that it's only 120 milliseconds latency to Bangalore, India, which is closer to Sri Lanka. Bitcha.com does not offer a direct test result to Sri Lanka. However, just compare it to the speed result of the top hosts. Nanobotz have chosen a server that is perfect for hosting websites targeted for England, Germany, United States East, and most importantly, Sri Lanka. That's basically it. Hope you learned few things. Like, and share this to your friends who are planning to host websites. We will be bringing more tech knowledge weekly. So don't forget to subscribe.